Remember to hit that subscribe button.
Go ahead. Let's transition a little bit to some football, man. Anybody want to talk football here, man? Against the grain sports.
Let's go.
Hey, listen, man. I'm gonna go ahead and say this, man. I'm gonna go with Jason first. But the question that I got on Against the Grain Sports is, how do y'all feel about the Dak Prescott contract? The 4 years, $160 million. He got $126 million guaranteed. Did Dallas make the right move, or did they do something dumb as normal Cowboy fashion? Jason, go ahead and answer that question for me, man.
I look at this situation. I think it's I look at it as a situation. I think Dallas did make the right move by locking up Dak Prescott. Money wise, I think it's just a kind of a victim, a circumstance type of thing. Where quarterbacks, as you see, quarterback salaries are continuing to escalate. You got to play the play. So if you want to keep a top tier, top 8 quarterback in the league on your roster, you got to pay that kind of money. So I feel like, given the circumstances, given how bad the Cowboys were after Dak actually went out for the season, I think they just had to pay through the nose and actually make the deal. And I never frown upon a black quarterback getting paid. If you look at the actual the matrix, I think the three top quarterbacks in the league are 3 black quarterbacks. They're all making that.
Actually 4. Actually four.
You got.
Don't forget about Deshaun Watson.
So basically, you got four of the highest paid players in the league are black quarterbacks. So it shows you how far we've come in terms of like not being moved to receiver to actually playing quarterback and being paid well to play the position. But I think Dallas, their hands were tied in the situation. They had to pay Dakota, and we'll see how it plays out. The man's like at the press conference today, he's talking about he knows he knows the pressure of this contract. He knows he needs to win a Super Bowl. He knows he's being paid to win a Super Bowl. And I think that kind of leadership will spark this team to actually come back and be a 10-6 or 11-5 team.
Well, 2 things before I go to Gerard. One, they were playing bad before Dak got hurt. I'm just throwing that out there. 2, you say he's a top 8 quarterback in this league? Talk to me.
Yeah, I mean, he's a top 8 quarterback. I mean, if he was playing, like you say, he was playing, they were playing bad, but was he playing bad? He was
top 8 though?
Yeah. Find me 8 better quarterbacks.
Oh, I mean, if you want to go, we got Mahomes, we got Deshaun Watson, we got Russell Wilson, we got Aaron Rodgers.
Stop. He's better than Deshaun Watson. I'm sorry.
No,
Deshaun
he's
Watson,
not.
Deshaun Watson.
I got to go with the grain. Deshaun Watson is playing without no elite receiver. He led the NFL in passing yards. Name a receiver on his roster.
But you can't use that same stat before with Dak Prescott because Deshaun Watson was playing. Look at his team's record. He was playing guard. He's putting up numbers in garbage time.
But think about it. Okay, before this, Houston had made a run of playoffs. Before this, he had been to the playoffs and won playoff games. What are you talking? Like you really trying to say that Dak Prescott is better than Deshaun Watson at this point in time?
My personal preference, I would take Dak Prescott over Deshaun Watson, but that's just me.
Wow. Okay. All right, but I got 8 quarterbacks. I definitely got more than 8. But I'm gonna get back to you in a moment. Gerard, how do you feel about this Dak Prescott acquisition of signing his huge contract? What does that mean for the Dallas Cowboys?
To me, it just shows that the age-old statement that a lot of these GMs in professional sports, period, they don't know talent. You know, and the reason why I'm saying this is because, okay, you get this man $160 million, 126 of it guaranteed, right? So we got the draft coming up, and there's some pretty good quarterbacks in this draft coming up.
True.
So instead of either letting him walk or trading him, you give him this huge contract. Dallas, let's put the bread and butter out there. Dallas has more problems than just that. So with you giving him all this money, you're not going to be able to address the other issues that you have as a football team. So no, I don't feel like giving him all that money was a good decision. I just don't feel like it was. You could have let him walk and got a quarterback in the draft and still went 8-8 or not made the playoffs or not win a playoff game.
So we're talking about going and grab a proven commodity over a proven commodity. So you
Proven
want to
for
go
what?
grab,
Not make the
Who is
playoffs, not
proven?
even win a playoff game?
I mean, the thing is,
He won one.
okay,
He did win one.
he won one playoff game. He's been in the league. This is his 5th year. So you're banking on. Let's see. They're not going to be in Trevor Lawrence territory. They probably could trade up to get Fields. They probably could trade up to get Zach Wilson. They could probably trade up to get Trey Lance. You're talking about Mac Jones. All these guys are they're not proven. They're not proven NFL commodities. So you're saying basically you're taking a risk and going to get one of these quarterbacks and potentially setting your franchise back even further by drafting the wrong quarterback, or would you go with a proven commodity in Dak Prescott, just paying the money?
Yeah.
Hold on.
Yes.
Hold on.
Yes.
Hold on. Listen. Let me. Can I jump in about Mac? The Dak Prescott. Like what Jason said, I am very, very happy for Dak Prescott getting that bag. I am tremendously happy. Like you said, the top 4 highest paid players in the league are African Americans. That's something we probably would have never said 20 years ago. So I want to commend that. But now let's get beyond it. Let's get to what Dallas did wrong. Dallas did wrong because they should have signed Dak Prescott 2 years ago. Jerry Jones, bro, didn't you say this? They need to draft a owner. This is the problem in this scenario. They have went and they overpaid for Ezekiel Elliott. They overpaid for Amari Cooper. They overpaid for DeMarcus Lawrence. They overpaid for Smith, the left tackle. And now they overpaid for this quarterback. And in return, they're picking 10th in the draft. I understand that they saying that Dak didn't play, but Dak was not playing well. And if they wouldn't have got that fluke onside kick, they wouldn't even had a victory with Dak Prescott as a quarterback of them before he got hurt. So let's put that in perspective. So now, once again, Dallas had made a move. They should have either signed him 2 years ago when they didn't have to pay that hefty fine because they're paying a fine to get him. They need to part ways with Ezekiel Elliott. Part ways with you made him the highest paid running back, and he's not even in the top 12, top 15 running backs in this league. Actually, a guy behind him, Pollard, is a better and more explosive running back and fits the offense better than Ezekiel Elliott. The offensive line is in disarray. The defensive line is in disarray. They can't cover anybody on the outside. Gerard, you made an excellent point. They have the 10th pick in the draft. Why not go and get a quarterback that you can get for a basement bargain deal, that you can put other money in other positions so you can go 8-8. And the lucky thing about Dallas is they're in the NFC East, the NFC least. They don't have to work. Philly is going to be in disarray this year. Washington, we don't know who playing quarterback for them. And the New York Giants are the New York Giants. So they have an opportunity to win the division at 8-8. You can do that with Mac Wilson. You can do that with Justin Fields. You can do that with Trey Lance. And it could be cheaper, and you could potentially go get you a cornerback. You could potentially go get you a pass rusher, and you can address that offensive line. Dallas has made it a bad decision again. Jerry Jones is a businessman. He doesn't want his investments to be wrong. Amari Cooper is not a number 1 receiver, and you paid him like he was. Ezekiel Elliott is no longer elite. And now you paid a quarterback that's not even in the top 15 quarterbacks in the league, or I'm going to say top 12.
Not top.
Listen, guys. Listen.
Wow.
How many teams and how many times have we seen them pay these quarterbacks all of this money, and then after these quarterbacks get all this money, those teams can't do anything because they can't bring in any more talent. We saw that with Joe Flacco and the Baltimore Ravens. We saw that. We've seen this over and over.
We see it with Seattle right now. We see it with the Seattle Seahawks right now. We see it with the Green Bay Packers right now. Kansas City is lucky they'd already won a championship. But the reason why Tampa Bay is so successful in New England with Tom Brady, because he always took a pay cut. That's how they're able to keep players around to play with Tom Brady. That's why he has so many Super Bowls.
And luck, but yeah.
Yeah, luck too. That's another conversation. But the reason why I say Dak is not a top 12 quarterback in this league, because you got to look at it not from a stat perspective. You got to look at the wins and the stats and the talent. So if I got Aaron Rodgers, I got Patrick Mahomes. Right now, Baker Mayfield is a better quarterback than him. Right now,
oh my God, no. I'm not letting you get that off.
So you're gonna say Baker Mayfield at this point in time in his career, Baker Mayfield is not putting up and doing better than what Dak Prescott is doing? Do you understand that do you understand it's only 3 quarterbacks in NFL history that thrown for 3,500 yards their first 3 years in the league, and Baker Mayfield is one of them.
It's the way the game is played now. I'm not rolling with that. You cannot tell me Baker Mayfield's better than Dak.
How many playoff wins do Baker Mayfield have?
He has one.
How many do Dak Prescott have?
He has one.
When they play head to head, hold on, Jason. When they play head to head this year, who won?
The Browns. But
exactly.
The reason they won was it because of Baker Mayfield?
Yeah, he had an excellent game that game. He didn't turn the ball over. What do you mean? That's a great game. He outplayed Dak Prescott, like you said. He played coming from behind. He almost threw for 500 yards, but guess what? When it was on the line, he threw an interception in the red zone. That's what Baker Mayfield didn't do. We have to start giving credit to Baker Mayfield for what he's doing on the field. Don't worry about what he's doing, and if you don't like him or not, we got to look at the actual stats. Look. He only threw 8 interceptions this year.
But you utilize 8
interceptions.
But you can't
without a number one, without a true cut number one receiver.
But you can't utilize stats to make your argument and then utilize stats when you're not making your argument. So you're going to utilize Baker Mayfield's stats when it's convenient to make Baker Mayfield look better than Dak Prescott. I look at the actual game being played. If I'm down, I want Dak Prescott bringing my team back better than Baker Mayfield. I just can't. I just can't. No.
You didn't see. You must have missed that Monday. They lost the game, but you must have missed that Monday night game when he went toe to toe with Lamar Jackson. You missed that game. You didn't see it.
Yeah, the game where Lamar Jackson had the shits and had to come back.
Right, and it was basically if the defense could have held up, which we didn't have Myles Garrett in that game. If the defense and we didn't have Denzel Ward, maybe they could have won that game. You didn't watch
my point for Dak Prescott. That's the reason Dak Prescott didn't win as many games as before. His defense is the reason he used to have to throw for 500 yards.
What about the year? What about the year before that? And the year before that?
The year before, I'm talking about this year. This just passed.
Right, and he won one game as a starter, and he broke his leg in the other game that he won. But I mean, if Atlanta basically picks up the freaking football, he doesn't win that game either.
I mean, like stuff happens in games. So basically, but he won the game. It's the same thing. Like basically, when they had Seattle and Duke dropped, if they would beat Seattle, it came back and beat Seattle. If I think Gallup dropped the touchdown pass to hit him dead in the hands.
But let me ask you this: Cleveland, when Baker Mayfield, this is going into its 4th year. His first year, Cleveland won 7 games, right?
Right.
After going 0-16, they won 7 games. The next year, he only won 6. The next year, he go 11-5 in a very, very difficult AFC, very, very difficult AFC North. He went 11-5 and beat Ben Roethlisberger. But okay, we're gonna go on because it's not
beat Ben Roethlisberger in the playoffs.
Yeah, they beat Ben Roethlisberger.
But the thing is, like, I think what people the misconception about, like, and I know there's a lot of Steelers fans out here to watch this. The reason the Steelers were doing good, they lost their best defensive player, which was Devin Bush Jr.
Okay.
When he went out, they were like, I think they were 13-0 when he went out.
No, 11-0.
They were 11-0. So when they lost Devin Bush Jr., the Steelers were never about Ben Roethlisberger this year. It was their defense that was carrying them.
Okay, injuries are part of the game. Cleveland was missing Myles Garrett for a long period of time. They were missing Denzel Ward a long period of time. They were missing Nick Chubb a long period of time of the season. They missed Odell Beckham pretty much the whole season. So we are not going to sit up here and say injuries are what dictates what a team do or not. It's the next man up in the NFL, and you know that. And if you can't play the next man up football,
significant drop off in talent also.
Yeah, but that's a GM's responsibility, and that's a player development's responsibility to get players behind it. New England never cried about not having players. They just went out there and did what they had to do. When one man went down, the next man stepped up. And that's when you look at a championship caliber team, that's what happens. But once again, we getting too far off. Let's stick with the Dak Prescott contract. Gerard, I want you to jump back in real quick because you've been off to the sidelines. What do you think is potential what Dallas can do next season? What is it that they can do next season?
The same thing they've been doing. I don't see Dallas doing too much. I don't see them. I really don't even see Dallas making the playoffs. I think that contract was really to satisfy the fans because the fans was pushing for Dak to get a contract for those years that he didn't get one. And that's basically what that contract was. I don't see Dallas doing too much. And I really feel like they wasted their money for the next, 4 or 5 years? What they give him, 4 years, 160?
4 years.
Yeah, 4 years. So I wouldn't be surprised if in year 2 or 3, they're looking to either cut him or trade him.
Jason, final thoughts on what you think the Cowboys situation with Dak Prescott? What do you think they're going to do? And what does next year's expectations look like for the Cowboys?
Yeah, I still see Joe Flacco.
I still see the Cowboys actually winning that division. I think there's too much talent on this roster. Health pending that they still have probably one of the most talented offenses in the league. You got three solid receivers. You got Blake Jarwin coming back, who's probably one of the better unknown tight ends in the league. With him returning, I can see the Cowboys, their offense, being pretty much unstoppable force. It's just the defense. They're going to have to address the defense. I don't know if they, like I said, there's no game.
But they can't. They spent all their money.
But they still got a draft picks. They have four top 100 draft picks this year, so they still can address those assets. They still can address defensive players in the draft. It's a lot. It's not necessarily a top heavy draft, but it's a deep draft where you can go out. You can find a corner. You can find a corner in the first round. You can find a starting defensive end in the second round. It's enough talent that's there to replenish those needs. Rookies, the rookie pay scale is not that much, so they should be fine. I don't see them making a big splash in free agency, but I can still see them utilizing their draft picks to replenish their defense and, like I said, being a solid 10-16.
Well, my final thoughts on the Dak Prescott contract in the Dallas Cowboys, I call it a situation, is once again, I'm very, very happy for Dak Prescott. If you're out there listening, I commend you for doing what you can, securing your future, securing your family's future. But from a football standpoint, I think Dallas Cowboys made a mistake. They had the number 10 pick in the draft. They could have went and got any quarterback in there to do the same thing Dak Prescott is doing. They need to part ways with Ezekiel Elliott. If they win a division, it's going to be by default, and that's going to depend on what the quarterback situation is in Washington. I'm tired of hearing all this injury stuff with the Cowboys and the talent. They've had talent since I can ever remember. Even in the down years, they had talent. That goes back to Jerry Jones stepping away and letting somebody that understands football run that team. Develop the players that you have. Understand that players behind the players that's starting, just because you have loyalty to them, let them play. I think if Pollard played a full season, you will see the difference if Pollard was the feature running back in Dallas. Amari Cooper is not a number one. He's proven it. If he was so great, why did Vegas let him go? You don't let go good players. You let him go.
Let me stop you there. Have you seen the Raiders, like their signings from a couple years ago? They've traded Trent Brown. They released Antonio Brown. They released LaMarcus Joyner. It was somebody else. The guard, Hudson. They released Hudson. So basically, they're not to me. Mike Mayock might be a little bit in over his head. So to get rid of, it was wise to get rid of him, get a first round pick. But I think I'm a little skeptical on their decision making there with Las Vegas.
Oh yeah, trust me, I agree with that. I'm just saying, like from a logical standpoint, you don't get rid of good players. But Amari Cooper is paid better than Julio Jones. He's better. He's being paid more than Michael Thomas, and those are arguable. They said per year, and I think those guys are better. And they treat Amari Cooper like he's a difference maker. And he, once again, like Gerard said, they're 8-8 or below. So I just think Dallas Cowboys need to understand, if they're going to be good, they need to get somebody in player development, and they need to get a real GM in place to make Dallas as successful as they can be. Because I see if Bill Belichick had this roster, they'd have been won a Super Bowl. I'm going to go ahead and say it just like that on Against the Grain Sports. Hey, once again, man, check us out. We come in here pretty much every day, man, with new topics, man. We got Jason Coleman, our NFL analyst. We got Gerard McCain, the host of Against the Grain Sports, man. We would love for you to leave a comment, like, subscribe to the page, man. Tell us what you think about this situation. We want to hear you. And if you want to be on the show, please let us know. We get you on here. Hey, it's all about the people, man. All this is sports our way, and it's going to be sports your way.